Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm the badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, and welcome. Happy Thursday. Your turn.
Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, coming live from Murcia. It's either the coast of death or the spiritual moments.
Oh,
so, a beautiful place.
Good morning to Kathy Reese on Facebook, and good morning to Gail with the Empowering Process podcast on YouTube, who was the first one on this morning. We're happy that you are here. And we are in June now. We are in the midst of our Ready, Set, Go month. So this is the Take Action month. And we're still putting together the conversations for this month, but today is basically going to be the next piece. You know, Tuesday was ready, and today is get set. So we're going to be talking about what you need to do to get set and to get on your way, because obviously Tuesday's show will probably be go. And then we'll talk about the rest of the month of what it's like to take action. But getting set is a huge, you know, it plays a major role. It sets the tone. It's, you know, preparation is ideal. Sometimes we get stuck in the preparation. Sometimes we don't even get started on the preparation. But the key is to always make sure that you're in each of those phases for the appropriate amount of time. What's the appropriate amount of time? It depends on what you're working on, but you have to be in them and you have to know when to shift out of them. So we're going to be talking about that today.
And getting set, we will start with the mantra, intention.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so be intentional, be purposeful, decide what you're going to do today. It could be one thing, it could be multiple things, and set your intention and do it.
And do it in gratitude. Be grateful for the good things that are around you.
Be grateful for the good things. That's right. What's good around you?
I'll give you for an example. We set out this morning to get reflexology and a pedicure, and we sent in the little appointment thing online. So we didn't hear nothing back. So we were gonna get breakfast, and we figured, well, let's go get that done so then we can eat, and then I can come on the show. So we get there. It was around 11:15, and she didn't have anything for 1 until 12, and then the other one would have to go at 4. And then I said, okay, so we have an hour to go eat and come back. And then Iris like, oh, there was a hairdresser, can you flat iron my hair? So she did. So that brought us to like 11:40. So we're like, oh, we're not going to be able to eat because I have to get back for Viva, and then I have the orientation. So she felt bad. I said, don't feel bad. It already happened. So then it so happened the lady took me 20 minutes earlier. So as we're walking out of there to come closer to where we're at to eat, there was a little side tunnel, a little walkway, and you can see the water with the boats. And I looked at Iris and I said, we are so blessed that we are in Europe, and we walked through the whole northwest part of Spain, and now we're like at the end of the world, and look where we're at. It's a blessing on top of all the pain. And then we go sit down and we meet these two amazing people, one from Germany and one from Virginia, and she's talking about where she's going next, and it's a writer's retreat and it's donation based, that you could spend the night there at this writer's retreat, which isn't far from where we're at. So that's where we're going next tomorrow. And so when you stop, take a deep breath and breathe in all that beauty and say, I am so blessed and filled with gratitude. everything starts falling into place. So be intentional. 5 things could happen negative, 1, 2, 3. But if you just take that deep breath and says, I'm grateful that I can still stand tall, deal with what's happening, and focus on what I will be doing next, which is totally opposite of working on what are the negatives. So that was my thing. Now, and the German guy says, where are we from? And I was like, oh, we're Puerto Rican. And the girl was around the bend, and she sticks out her head and her arm. I'm Puerto Rican too. So that's how it all started. So it's like we were meant to be delayed. You know, I got my reflexology and my pedicure. And so I told Iris everything was meant to happen as it was, so that we can come to the coffee shop at this exact time and meet these 2 souls. So do what you do, you know, fine. You might wake up late. You might be running. You know, you got a flat. Your car won't start. Still, find that space of gratitude to live in during the chaos, and you'll see your day will unfold so much better.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Hola, milagros.
And it sets the tone. It sets the tone, because if you let it get to you and you get frustrated, that's when you make mistakes. That's when you make bad choices. You're reactive. You know, not that there's times to be reactive, but we react way too much. And so if we take those moments to just say, oh, throw your hands up and say, okay, I'm trusting in the process. This happens. I'm just going to go with the flow. And that's that.
Yes, amen. I totally, I mean, I just lived it. So that's wonderful. So aside from heading to Portugal for the day to go where my mother's father's family came from, on the way there, I'm stopping at a writer's retreat. That I can give whatever I give. It's a donation, Thomas. So it's like, because I met these people.
And who knows? And could you imagine who you're going to meet on the writer's retreat?
Yes. Because we don't leave until next week, you know. So it's like, so of course, life is not easy, but it's so much better with you being present.
Yes. Why are things not showing up on here? I'm typing stuff in. It's coming up on Facebook.
Tiffany. Yeah. So so I think that's why I thought that mantra.
Well, good. Then let's do our mantra. Let's do our mantra. Then that'll go right along with it. Say it loud and say it proud. I am a disruptor.
I am a disruptor.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am unapologetically courageous.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am spiritually grounded.
I am magically orgasmic.
Ole.
And I keep it real.
All day, no doubt.
All right. So lots and lots of great stuff, you know, and a lot of times it's right in front of us and we're so blind to what we're doing and what we're focused on that we don't even see it. You know, we've talked about this before. We talked about when you ask for a sign and then the signs are right in front of you and you just don't see it. You know, it's just like that movie, Bruce Almighty, when he was asking for a sign and it's like the truck is right in front of him. And that's the reality of it is, but when you actually take the time and you step away and when you start to feel your mind shifting to a negative place or a place that with low vibrational energy, you're going to miss it. It's not going to allow you to see things, at least not the good things. You will always focus on the bad stuff. So again, when you're in a mode where you have to be reactive, where you have to be vigilant, you know, that it's like a survival mode, that's one thing. But even though we do live in a tumultuous time period, even though we do have things happening in our world, in our immediate world, it doesn't necessarily happen. It's not necessarily tumultuous like that. So why be in that survival mode all the time? When you're in survival mode, you are not in a mode to be creative. You're in a mode to survive. So you have to pull yourself out of that. And sometimes pulling yourself out of that means listening to podcasts, listening to us, getting coaching, talking to a therapist, exercising, eating better. Like all of these things play into it, getting out of your environment temporarily or even permanently. that will help clear your head. And once you start making these changes, your head starts to clear. You will start to see what's right in front of you, and you will start to also see what the choices you had been making that were not serving you. So it's time. Like, we've been prepping you for this, and now we're ready. We're at that point where we're ready to say, let's go. Let's get moving over here. This is, we need to get moving. It's time to take action. We are at the half-year mark, right? We want you to just enjoy the rest of the year. We want you to get to the point where you are back focused on what you want to do and making the next 6 months amazing.
Yes. You said something at the beginning of this. And when we see the signs and you don't act on them, you got to ask yourself why. Iris and I had this conversation yesterday. You got to ask yourself or identify what's keeping you. The fear of change is very real. And we're always praying. Then we don't follow through. We meditate, we visualize, whatever it is you do. And then the signs are presented and you're still looking past it. Because it's one thing to say, I want this, but there's another thing to do it, to do that follow through. That getting set to say, okay, I'm going to ask for it now because I need to change it now. So what's holding you back from everything that is right here? It's in your face. It's through a message. It's through a commercial, one line in a commercial. I mean, you would be amazed at how the messages come to you. And like in Bruce Almighty, when it's right in front of you, what are you doing? You're still looking over it, around it, or down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything to avoid what it is you ask for. Because when you're so afraid of change, you're not getting set to do anything different. Although you're saying it, but you're not doing it. You find you look for a reason to blame it on something, and it could be the meditation, it could be anything who you ask for, and because it's never your fault. So ask yourself, identify what's keeping me still, what's keeping me stagnant, what's keeping me in the routine that is making me unhappy, and then tread forward, because it's something. Like one of the conversations I had yesterday with Iris, and I know she's watching and she can write in if she wants, is how simple it is to relay a friend or family story when you're having a conversation, but you cannot articulate or even form a sentence of your own good deeds, your own experiences that are good, your own reason for why am I feeling like this? Why did I do this? And then when they're asked why, for instance, I'm going to put it out there. When I'm like, why are you crying? And she's so used to me asking that question, like why are you crying again? Because I was that person. So I can't blame her for thinking that. Because remember, when I didn't cry, I didn't like to be around people who cried. And I said, I'm asking you because you just did something really huge. She walked with this bracelet that said, let go and let God the whole camino. And she left stuff at the Cruz de Ferro, but this was one that she needed to find a place that was going to feel like it's home. And yesterday when we got here, we walked 6 miles all the way up to a top of something. And she's like, this is where I have to leave it. And she cried. So I wanted her to express what she was feeling so she can celebrate herself. And we got into a bit of a debacle because she thought I was like, oh, why are you crying again? And I said, no, I need you to express it, because when we voice out, it goes right back into our ears, and then we can register it for what it is and to celebrate. But if you just say, well, I always cry, I'm emotional, well, that all becomes like
a mishmash.
Yeah. So you can identify, because now it's all into one big mess, right? So I think when we voice out what it is that we're feeling, and it enters our ears again, then we understand it better. And if it's a celebratory cry, then celebrate it, say it, And of course, what I learned on this camino, It's going to be life altering for me when I get back home. I learned so much, and it's falling into place now that I'm off the Camino. But during the Camino, I started feeling different, and I couldn't articulate what I was feeling, but I know it was a big change. It was a lot of things that I went through spiritually, and I'm going to celebrate every change that I have to make going forward, because the end game is I am choosing me. I am choosing a healthier version of me. Just like right now, I had scrambled eggs, no cheese, um, tomatoes, and aguacate. How do you say that in English? Avocado. And normally, you know me, I want my bread, I want some sausage, I want something, and I feel good. And that's how we've been eating here. So I already started that big change. So, but I voice it out. Even if I voice it out in the shower, I'm identifying. Okay, so what is this? I was a little confused on what I was feeling today, but I speak it out and it comes back in, and then I can balance it. I balance it. So, yeah, it's a great thing. And so what I also learned is I can't fix everybody. I can't coach everybody. I can't, you know, I can't want to be that caretaker that I've always been with everybody, because it's draining on me. It's draining, and then I feel like that person isn't trying hard enough. And so that's another thing that started already going into effect. So I'm telling you what the badass Buddha said the other day: if you even can get away to a hotel room for a night in your own city overlooking the sea, or something, but just do it for you. If you have a extra room in your house, fix it up like your sanctuary or a little corner of it, and take 30 minutes, an hour of your day. Don't let anybody bother you, and go in there, because your growth is waiting for you. You don't have to come all the way to Spain to do a Camino to feel it, but you do have to treat yourself just to moments in your days where you are just celebrating your own existence and sitting there and allowing all your five senses to come into play, and your thoughts will align with you, and then you can evict and archive, or just put right there like, oh, I missed this the last time. But you matter. We all matter. And you know what? It takes me coming here. I like coming here. I like being away from everything. Um, to have learned this Camino has been the most different from all my other Caminos. And you know what?
That's cool.
I am ready for the Margarita that is going to not only change, but stay in that lane going forward. Because I've changed, and then, somebody needs me, so I backtrack. Somebody needs me, I take a detour. You know, something's not right, and I feel like I need to be there for them. Then I'm way on the other side of the spectrum where I'm supposed to be. And not that I regretted any of it, but was my presence gonna alter what happened or not? Can I have gone different times? So I don't regret what I've done, but I'm just gonna do things differently going forward. And that's getting set. I'm getting set for this new season in my life. So who's with me? Who's coming with me?
Woo! See, that's okay. So getting set is that clarity. First off, it's there's steps. And some of the commentaries, like I like what Gail said. Gail said, having a breakthrough does not guarantee change. Follow up with a coach is important to support your process. Absolutely, because we only know what we know. You can learn a lot from listening to people, and that was part of my growth when I started my path. I wasn't working with a coach initially. I started diving into speakers and documentaries and specific movies that were meant to be motivational, inspiring. And I did go to a seminar. I went to a Joe Dispenza seminar for the weekend, and I read the books, and it definitely helped. It sort of knocked me out of my normal pattern. That was the beauty of it, was that it knocked me out of my normal pattern to where I wanted more. I wanted to know more, and I wanted to know why, and I wanted to know how, and I wanted to know when, and well, maybe not when, but the what and the why, and all that started to come too. And then I moved on to working with a coach because I started to catch where I was getting stuck and recognizing what was blocking. The other key thing is finding the right coach. Sometimes, get discouraged because sometimes you can start with somebody and you're like, well, that was a disaster and I don't ever want to work with a coach again. Everybody's different. So you have to find the right one, and you may not know the right one until you actually work with somebody. So if you have one that's telling you that you have to sign up for 6 months or whatever, that I don't listen, to each his own with their marketing, but I have found that if they're telling you have to automatically sign up, what if you don't get along? What if you don't jive? That's not fair. So to each his own. Sometimes people want that commitment and they're like, no, I have to sign up for that 6 months and make it happen. If that's you, that's fine. That's just not the way I work. I don't work that way as a coach. I don't work that way as a client either. But it's about getting to that point. Okay, so now let's say you're at that point. You got ready. You're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the change. I'm ready to make this happen. I'm ready to really step up with my life. Now get set. So what is it? Like what we have to be clear here. What is it that you really want? And who cares if it seems like crazy? We were out yesterday and we were driving and there's this one spot where they had this bungee jumping thing. They had it was right off into the ravine, and we were talking about it in the car, and we're going, and my daughter's like, I don't know. I said, I've always wanted to bungee jump. Like I've always wanted to try that. I used to want to skydive, but I don't have an interest in that now. But bungee jumping, I might still consider that. So that might be something that I just put on my list. Doesn't necessarily mean that I want to. And maybe in a year when I look it over again, I did injure my knee, so I'm a little leery about bungee jumping because of the knee thing. But it's a possibility, Is it that important to me? No, because if it was, I've done it already. But it's just an incredible list of things to say, hey, I'd like to do that. Hey, I'd like to do the Camino. I'd like to do the Appalachian Trail. We live right near it. I'd like to go traveling. I want to go to Italy and visit my family. All those things have to be put down. They have to be written and they have to be said out loud. Just like, Gladiator Guru was talking about with having Editha express what it was that she was feeling, because it's not enough to just feel it within. You have to say it. And then when it brings you emotion, it's just like when you talk about something that you're excited about and you get all passionate about it. You could just say it out loud. If you're that passionate about it, you could just talk to yourself and it's exciting. And what happens is the more passion, the more energy you put behind it, the more, without a doubt, you will push it forward and do it. You won't have that hesitation. You'll get past that fear. And when somebody comes into your little space and they say, whoa, why would you want to do that? You really don't care what they say, because I want to. Oh, well, that's stupid. Well, that's you. It doesn't even faze you. Whereas if something else, if you're not quite there, they could say one word, one sentence that completely knocks you down. Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's stupid. So it's about getting set. Get set. What do you need to do to prepare yourself for the go? Get ready, get set, go. What do you need to do to prepare yourself for the go? Do you need an accountability partner? Do you need to work with a coach? Do you need to go for a weekend away for a seminar? Go put yourself. Look, Gladiator Guru is going to this writing retreat. Okay, she's a writer. There's people there that might be brand new writers. There might be people that are even more seasoned than she is. The thing is, she's meeting people from all over. And she's going to go to this retreat. Now she's going to make more connections, find out new things, learn. She's going to share her stuff, which is going to inspire other people. And there's just going to be this collective energy. And that's the beauty of it, is she wouldn't have known about this. This wasn't in the plan. She just said, we're going to be here for another week. This was in the original planning of the trip. What are you going to do the trip? I don't know. We'll see. We'll just sort of play it by ear. Now, if she had meticulously put in her itinerary every little thing with nothing, no room for wiggle room, she would have not been able to fit this in. But she kind of said, you know what? We did a lot of walking. We did a lot of stuff. For that last 2 weeks that we're there, we're just going to go with the flow. We're gonna play it by ear and go with the flow. Okay. And this is coming from somebody who I like to be a planner. I am. However, I like to be both. I like having an idea, having a plan, and then knowing that it can shift, it can flow. Hey, we're going to do this day. Oh, the weather's not that great. That's okay. We'll do it on this day then, and instead we'll swap this for that, or we'll do something entirely different. And I've learned that about myself over the years, that sometimes to get ready, get set, there's wiggle room. When the go happens and you're going on the thing that you set, then you discover something incredibly new because you've been aware and you're awake. That's the beauty of it. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm on my way. Oh, wait a minute. Let me take a little detour. It's just like The Alchemist. You know, he didn't expect to work at the glass shop. He didn't expect to work for that guy, but it was a necessary part, a necessary element of his growth, of what he learned.
And there's different planners. Like, you like to write your stuff down. There's people who have visual boards, all that. See, to me, going with the flow is a plan because I'm open for anything that arises. And I plan to go with the flow. So it's a plan for me. And knowing that going with the flow means there might be stuff I cannot do. Yeah, I might not have room. I might not have time. I might not have the money. It depends what it is that I'm going with the flow with. Like, tomorrow we were going to go to Portugal. But now we're going to stop at this other place. So, but I still, because there's wiggle room, as you said, there's wiggle room from here to the time we have to take our plane to fit that in for the day, a day time in Portugal, because there's only a bus right away. So, I mean, when I never felt bad that I never journaled, that I never had a planner, that I don't like visual boards. And people love that. There's classes on it. That never, it was because it's not for me. So I never felt bad that, oh, wow, everybody's doing that. Why don't I like it? Because I'm a writer, I have 2 bookshelves full of journals, and they're so beautiful that were gifted to me and inscribed by everybody. I never wrote in them, but I saved them because they're beautiful, and the thought behind it is awesome. And so I think learn who you are. When you learn who you are, then you know what you like. You know, I heard something yesterday from a writer, and she said, I guess she wrote a Christian book. I'm not sure what it was. And I said, I can't wait to say it on Viva because it's so true. Because remember, when I say learn who you are, know thyself, so that you're not following the masses, because the M is mostly silent in that. So who are you following really? And why do people follow the masses? Because they don't know who they are. So this woman was saying that she wrote a book and nobody in her family or her church bought one of her books. And she was so angry. And then she said she prayed on it. And she said, and then thousands and thousands of strangers bought my book. And when that happened, you know, I guess somebody in her family read it. And she said, and what I learned through this process is I was a black sheep who turned into the goat. So that was a good thing. Then she said, my biggest lesson was taking the E out of carrying all these sad emotions, removing the E and living in motion forward.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, that was like brilliant, because that's what we need to remember. And I was like, I got you, because I love the stop following the masses, because the M is silent. And then when she came up with this one, I was like, how true is that? If all we gotta do is remove one letter, that one vowel, E, and it's motion. And what's motion is getting set. Ready, set, go. Because now there's nothing hindering you. There's nothing holding you back. So If you can learn anything, it's like, let's try. Remember, emotions come to you to go through you. I had, so many people that all they want to talk about is what they went through, or you know just stuck on that, and so they're missing all the beauty and all the growth that happened because of that pain, because of that trauma, or because of that, you slipped and fell. All you want to talk about is how you slipped and fell, but don't tell me how you got up and you finished that, and you finished and you followed through, because that's the beautiful part of the story. That's getting set to say, oh my God, I fell, blah blah, but it didn't stop me. Yeah, it didn't stop me. I hate using but. Yeah, it didn't stop me. And that's what we're about. It's about, well, how do you do? And Gail, yes, I'll take you up on that offer, but it will have to be on the weekend, because, I'm going back to be a nanny for my beautiful granddaughters. And yeah, we can get decompress, as you say. But because I'm open now, I'm open. I want, let's do this. Let's do this. To get set, you have to be at the start line. Right before you go, you have to walk your ass to the start line and wait until boom, and that little cap gun that goes off for you to take off. That's you getting set to be ready to go. But who's gonna do that for you but you?
That's right. That's right.
Who else can do that?
It's you have to understand that. Think of it in terms, it's always easier to think of it in terms of people preparing for a race or sports or something like that. You don't just go out and play football. You don't just go out and play baseball. You don't just go out and run a race. People who go into the Olympics just don't show up. They prepare. They get coached. They have people people rooting for them. And it doesn't, and sometimes it's not family members. It's not the people that you expect to root for you, just like she had with that book situation. It's about you saying, this is what I want to do. People, you believing in yourself, people also believing in you, because you'll attract those people. And then being pushed by people that want to hold you accountable, that you want to hold you accountable, coached, and you're getting ready. You're getting ready. You're mentally prepping, you're emotionally prepping, you're physically prepping, because all of it is there. It's like even the things that you want to do in your life, it's not just about changing your emotions from dropping the E to emotions and preparing yourself mentally. You have to prepare yourself physically, because for those of you out there that really want to travel, that really want to do something with your life, and we're getting older, sometimes the physical does get in the way. Sometimes there are things that slow us down. Lack of movement is a problem. We're not meant to not move. We have to be moving. People who live the longest are the ones that are always moving. They're always doing something. They're not going to a gym workout necessarily. They're riding bicycles. They're walking everywhere. They're holding things that are heavy. So these are people that are in their 80s and 90s still doing this stuff. So you've got to say, okay, you know what? I can't just sit on my ass and watch a documentary and say, yeah, this is great, and take notes. I've got to get my butt up and walk. And, sometimes walking and running, doing something physical, getting outside, sweating, doing a lot of activity, it actually starts to help you clear your head, and it gets you more focused on stuff. And that's why a lot of people love doing pilgrimages, walks like the Camino, because it sets themselves apart from their lives, and it puts them into a different space where all they have to do is focus on themselves. In that process, they come there with crap. They start walking, they're thinking about it, ruminating, this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point, there's no other choice but to let it go, because your physical body is going, enough already. Like, I can't do this with you. We're walking and we're seeing all this beauty. Let that shit go. Let it go. And then you get there and you get to the end and you're like, and it would make perfect sense why people get so emotional on these journeys, because it's letting go. But here's the little key. Sometimes we give ourselves permission to let go and to open that space up to get ready, get set, and go on these types of journeys. And then when we return, for some reason, we had the baggage still waiting for us. When we landed back at we're walking back right into our house, we picked those bags that we left over. You got to take those bags that you might have left over and you still have to get rid of them. Being in your environment re-triggers people. And the thing is that come to this conclusion. If you walk back into a certain space and you feel it hitting you, you can't be there anymore. You have to face that, and you have to decide what it is that you need to do to get you out of that space.
But it can be as simple as redecorating your place.
Sure.
Baby hoarders are real.
Stuff,
you got baby hoarders that wanted to carry stuff from their past into now because so and so gave it to them. It's about letting go of anything that doesn't serve you.
Right.
And sometimes we'll go home and it's the same stuff. Well, take everything down from the walls, remove the curtains, do a new paint job, rearrange furniture.
Sure.
You can turn it around according to how you live. And you were talking about accountability, and I wanted to say something that just through experience with people, you know, when we become accountability partners to somebody, I've decided on this journey that I can't help someone be accountable. They must be accountable for themselves and then lean on me if they need something. Why? Because we accountability people, and we all fail it, but what good is it if when I'm not there to be the cheerleader and to hold them accountable, they're just going to fall back. And I've seen it and I've lived it. And it's very I don't want to say that I feel it now, but in those moments, you almost feel unappreciated. You feel like taken advantage of because all this hard work we put into this accountability that was asked for. And in my case, maybe it wasn't, but I just figured, let me help you, right? Kind of holding myself accountable. And then when I'm not around, they revert back. And then when I come around and I'm like, oh, so what happened? How did you backpedal? And then the defensiveness comes up and stuff. So I think accountability, we both have to just be present and wanting it. And to what you were saying is movimiento es vida. Let me tell you, walking up these inclines, I don't care how many times I do the camino. It's good. It's just different times in my life. Some days I can go right up and whoo, I'm at the top, whoo. And I'm like, one more, Iris. And I look behind and she's far away. And then there were those days where I'm like huffing and puffing half the way up. Like, oh my God, how many more of these? And buen dia. This elderly couple just walking up like nothing. And then I come up and then I'm walking flat and like 20 minutes go by and they're coming back. And I'm like, and they're like, or they'll say, venga, ánimo, queda poco, come on. The energy, you only have a little bit left. And then it's like, it was 3 hours later, I'm there. And I'm like, what the heck? And it is. And you know, little do they know the inspiration that they gave just by being who they were. So that's why when the badass Buddha says, and I keep it real, and I say all day, no doubt, when you walk in your truth every single day, and you have no doubt as to who you are, that aura, that energy you emanate saves lives. It saves lives because I watch them and then I feel like they're like 30 years older than me. And they're like, hey, come on, you got this, only a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so then it makes me work harder the next time. Like, I got this, I can do this. Like, why am I allowing myself to feel defeated because it's yet another incline or it's another, climb through the forest? And so movimiento es vida. When you move, you live. And when you live, you're showing others it's not that difficult. Just want it.
That's right.
And so that's what you get. And Leanne, for your question, before I forget, hopefully I'm there for the cowboy dance in October. Yep. So that'll be awesome. And Lori
Dancing.
said, what?
She's going to be dancing. She's going to be
Leanne
dancing.
invited me, badass, so I'm going.
To what? She invited you? Oh, to the dance party?
No, to Tennessee, to your house.
Yeah, but I'm saying in October we have the dance party.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning.
It's not salsa, but you'll just have to live.
I love country
It's
music.
disco. It's mostly disco.
Disco. That's right. No, it's not the country one, but hey,
The country one will be in the spring if this one goes well. I said the country one will be in the spring. If this one goes as well as I'm thinking it's going to, then this one will be in the spring. But yeah, so this is, look, Gladiator Guru's right with regards to the accountability piece. And I've learned that I like helping people and being their cheerleader and also holding them accountable, being tough on them. And I appreciate it when people are to me, but it's true. When it helps me motivate myself when I'm holding somebody accountable. But what I have learned too is the same exact thing where sometimes I take it upon myself, or maybe they do ask for it. And then when you do hold them accountable, there's that defensiveness because they're not following through. And I've learned to just say, okay, well, I'm not going to offer that anymore. Like, you do your thing. Like if you're not ready, they're not ready. That's really what it comes down to. But then it makes me focus more on what am I ready for? Oh yeah, you could come. Yeah, you need to absolutely. It's what am I ready for? Because I catch myself doing that. When somebody asks me about it and I get defensive, that's when I have to say, okay, you're getting defensive because you don't want it. You haven't done it. You're not following through. So when somebody does it to me, I have to say to myself, okay, what am I supposed to learn here too? In that sense, like when do I do that? What is it that I'm doing? The way they're reacting, is there anything in my life that I'm reacting that way to as well? Maybe not somebody else asking me, but my own stuff is, what am I resisting? What am I not wanting to push forward with? And what am I putting off and what am I not doing? And what is important to me? See, that's the other thing is, remember the expression, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse.
Yes.
The reality is that if you don't really, really in your heart want to do it, you're not going to do it, or you're going to be really upset about doing it. So you have to sit, if you find yourself over and over again not doing something, especially if you're doing other stuff, if you're really getting it done in other elements, but there's other things that you're just not doing, even though that was on your list, sit with it. Sit with it and say, maybe the reason I'm not doing it, maybe I'm not pushing myself because I really don't want to do this. Because there's been plenty of things over the last couple of years for me that I thought I wanted to do, a direction that I wanted to go, and I dragged my feet on it. And then I never ever thought I would go in the direction that I'm going now. I never thought that I would rebuild my chiropractic practice, which is so funny. I mean, but I'm actually excited about doing that. I mean, I'm still excited about coaching, but the coaching gigs are not coming. I'm not getting any new clients, but I'm getting patients. So I'm going to go with that flow. And then maybe, I still would like to do clients. So that one, I don't want to give up on that one with coaching. But I feel that will also come into play, and those, because I want those. So when I'm not physically here, I still have income coming in because I can see those clients anywhere because they're online. So but it fits me, it suits me. And it's a work in progress. It's discovering myself, what's important to me, and then creating that set schedule. So this is what I'm gonna strive for. So this is my list of my sets. This is what I'm getting ready to do. So get on your mark, get set, go. I am getting ready. I'm getting set with these things. And then I am ready to unleash them, because that's what we're going to do. This is the Take Action month, but July is really making sure that you are pushing yourselves. For some reason, people really are very motivated in the summertime. At least I know I am, but I've a lot of people have told me this, that they tend to be very motivated in the summertime, and in the wintertime they tend to be more want to be home, want to be in kind of deal. Now, it does depend on where you live. It does depend on the weather and things like that. But that's the other key. If you know that's the way you work, then you want to make sure that you put in all your energy into the time of the year that you know you're most motivated. So if you know that you have the most energy in the warmer months, if you know that you tend to eat better, I tend to eat better in the warmer months. Like I'm more in the mood for a salad. I'm more in the mood. And then in the winter, I've noticed that I tend to want to eat certain foods that I really don't want to eat anymore. So I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to work on this whole entire summer until the end of September, and then prepare for the colder months and be very aware going in, but knowing that I want to have this motion right now. So I want to have the motion, not the emotion. I want to have the motion, and going into the warmer months of go, go, go. You can do this. Push yourself, push yourself. And then if I need to ride a little bit for the winter, and maybe switch the winter into more creation. Like this is the go part. And then maybe the winter for me becomes the creative mode where I sit down and I think and I write and I create and do it that way. But
Yes.
that's about deciding, like it's experimenting, it's being aware, it's thinking through things, it's doing mundane work sometimes that gets your mind into those things. It's walking, like today my middle daughter and I are going to go on a hike in the Smokies, and she's been dying for us to do this, and we're going to be going for hours because she picked a pretty good hike. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited for a lot of reasons. I'm excited for the movement. I'm excited for the challenge. I'm also excited to just spend the time with her because she's going to be leaving in a few days to go back to New York. And that's why she wanted to do it. She wanted to spend time with Mama. So I feel pretty good.
Beautiful. Give her a kiss for me. Gail, when I used to be an adult facilitator, I used to, and I showed the badass it when I was going through my paperwork. It's a sheet that I used to give them to see, everybody thinks they're aware. And it was called Ready, Fire, Aim. And everybody got it wrong all the time. And it's a great tool, even for coaching. So I still have it. If you want a copy of it, it's called Ready, Fire, Aim, and it's a whole bunch of questions. Then at the end, it tells you only do blah blah blah. So it's wonderful. But and Ayurveda, I used Ayurveda for a lot of stuff, and that's good. Badass. Look, roots and nuts. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But you said something, as usual, that was really deep, and because I was talking about Ready, Fire, Aim, se me fue. But I lost it. Yes, I have it. But oh my goodness, it was something very important.
Well, here, we'll see if we can get you back to it. You were talking about ready, fire, aim.
No, that was one thing I wrote. Wait, maybe I wrote down.
And we're actually going to have that conversation. That will be one of the topics is ready, fire, aim, because it's most of the time it's ready, aim, fire. But
yeah, I remember I don't know what month it is, but I remember we talked about
it's this month. It's this month. It's just it was get ready, get set. And then I think the next one actually will be ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
But Gail, when we meet up, I'll bring it to you because it's phenomenal. And I used that in the 90s when I used to teach. So all of that is but you said something, and let me see. Kathy said I've been joining people who have similar interests. Whatever we were talking about, I know was really key. And I can't believe I left because I got so excited about the Ready, Fire, Aim thing. But I know what it was. And it's I don't know if I mentioned how the people who walked in to Santiago, he proposed to her in front of the cathedral.
Yeah, the one that said they weren't going to get married. Yeah.
So I don't know if it was that night. It was the day after that we had Viva that we went karaoke until almost 4 a.m.
Yes.
Well, they're talking, and then we're all invited to the wedding. And then she goes, but I don't know. I don't want to get married here because he got married there in his first marriage. And I'm not religious. I don't want to get married in the church. And I said, well, I can marry you. I've been an ordained minister now for 4 years. And then she goes, oh my God, but I think in England you have to get married in a building. And Amos comes up and goes, we used to, not anymore. I said, see, I can marry you anywhere, girl. So that was an exciting thing. Because when people say, what do you do? And sometimes I'm like, I do many things because I do many things. So what do I do that I can say? Because I'm still active in a lot of the things I do, except coffee roasting, because I have that in Florida. And then I remember, like, my niece is bringing me all my certificates. Like, I'm an end of life doula. I barely talk about that, the ordained minister. So Iris set me up. So when we go back home, I'm doing a baptism. So it's like we forget what we do because we focus on one thing, but it's all doable. And maybe we do a lot of things, and some things are they have to be put to the wayside, or you can fluctuate with them and do a little bit of everything. And I would really want to focus on 3 top things. I told myself for the next 3 months after I settle in, because it's going to take me about a good 2 to 3 weeks to actually be myself with the time difference and everything. But I really want to focus on 3 top things for the next 3 months, and then, but never let go of all the other ones. And if someone calls me because they need something that's not within those 3 months, then I'm going to set aside time to do that, because I am many things. I love the many things that I have chosen to do. I love looking forward to the 3 things that I'm about to do when I go back. So yeah, I'm gonna add, because I'm good at what I do, because I love what I do, because I trust myself in doing them, and I trust myself to know that this no longer fits my schedule, my life, or my desires. And I think when we get there, hearing you talk about the chiropractic stuff, I've always loved that you were a chiropractor. That's why I said always introduce yourself as Dr. Lori Monaco, because you are a doctor. But there are times in our lives that it just doesn't fit what we're going through, the cycle, whatever, the change, the fears, the actually stepping into ourselves. And then it comes full circle. And I think that's so beautiful. And I'm so happy that you finally are home.
Me too.
That's what we all must invest in ourselves, is the journey that brings us to us, whether it's bringing us back to us or it's introducing us to who we really are. And we have to be open to it, and we have to accept it. And we might have been doing something for years that, and then if you don't know how to let it go, but then if you really stop to analyze it, if it hasn't made you happy either, take the jump.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hard one. That's a hard one, because that happens a lot to people, where they've had it around for so many years, and it's not making them happier. They're not really doing much with it. But they're like, but but you have to sit with it. So we are heading to the end. Both of us have to have a stop today, right at 9 o'clock. This has been a great conversation.
Yes.
So this weekend, take the time to get set. Get it very clear. Do what you need to do this weekend to get between now, so today's Thursday, to Tuesday, and be very clear on what it is that you want and why you want it. You have to write it down. If you have to sit with it, I would tell clients often is to write stuff down, like what I want, and then pick it up. Don't do it in one day. Like, put it down and then pick it back up a day later, and then pick it up a day later. Because sometimes you won't remember at that moment, but then something triggers you to remember, oh yeah, that's good, I wanted that. So take time with it, but start it. What is it that I want? Who cares if it's outrageous? Who cares if it's not possible? Just say, this is what I want. And then why I want this, and then get ready for Tuesday for Ready, Fire, Aim, because we're going to be talking about, Gladiator Guru is going to really run that one and talk about what that means and how that's going to be reflected into this Take Action Month.
Yes, and do it. And Gail, too, of the things that I'm going to plunge into when I get back. I learned on this camino, and I am I've leaned so much into it. My head is already inside the door. Hello, I feel like Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. Hello, I'm coming, and it's so exciting, and that's it. It's another feather in my fedora. What am I gonna say? And I'm happy about it. So I think don't shortchange yourself into believing you've already reached. Oh, I've already done so much. No, your journey hasn't ended yet. Remember, we still need to meet that merchant at the top of the hill.
That's right. Yay. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, recuerda, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste. Chaucito.